All right. It is time. Here we go. All right, people. It's time to get this party started. It's game time. Wake up. It's time to deal with this situation here. This debate. A whole bunch of debates going on right now. Let's deal with it right now. I don't want to talk about no knees to the back of the head. It was not a factor on in who won the fight. Hey, yeah, a knee or two may have been illegal. But what I want to deal with here is who won the fight. And more importantly, should Shevchenko be the champion? Now, in case you haven't noticed, those are two different questions. This video, you see the title, Who Really Won? Who really won the fight and who you scored the fight for is not the question. That's not the same as whether or not Valentina should be the champ. You can believe Valentina actually won and also believe that Grasso should still be the champion. So based on what you saw last night, should Valentina currently be the general of the division? That's a different question. Now, as it is, a lot of people feel like Valentina won the fight. And it seems like most people feel like Shevchenko won the fight. Of course, the Weasel made his video talking about how he believes Valentina won the fight. Most people in the comment section saying Valentina. Most people everywhere are saying Valentina. Now, let me just play the end of this.
For Grasso, she still loses the round. So we have to score this round a 10-9 for Valentina Shevchenko. So did the judges get this fight correct? They did not. Shockingly, Sal D'Amato was the only one that scored the fight correctly. Shevchenko should have won rounds 1, 3, and 4 with no 10-8 rounds for either fighter. And
that's what most people believe. Most people co-sign with that right there, what you just heard right there. Let's play it again.
Should have won rounds 1, 3, and not. Shockingly, Sal D'Amato was the only one that scored the fight correctly. Shevchenko should have won rounds 1, 3, and 4.
Most people say Valentina won rounds 1, 3, and 4. 1, 3, and 4. And I agree. I agree that she won rounds 1, 3, and 4. And I also agree that rounds 5, in that round, that should not have been a 10-8 in favor of Alexa Grasso. That's ridiculous.
With no 10-8 rounds for either fighter. And now it's probably going to line up a trilogy between these two.
Now I don't know if the trilogy is going to happen. I don't know about that. But you know what? A trilogy might be good for the division. We'll have to see. That's a big decision for the UFC. Because the trilogy might be good for the division, might hurt the division. Letting the champion Alexa Grasso fight somebody else, that might be good for the division too. Let Valentina be a contender right now. I like the position that everybody is in right now. I like this situation with Shevchenko not having the belt, but I don't think Shevchenko's stock has taken much damage, because of how many people thoroughly believe that not only that she won, people thoroughly believe that she's overall a better fighter than Alexa Grasso.
And maybe have Aaron Blanchfield and all these other contenders fight each other in the meantime before we
Okay. So, this is the sentiment from the majority of the people, including the people that I asked. Now, if you look around online, you'll see a lot of other opinions as well. I personally conducted a poll on my channel. I think I got about 60 votes. Where I simply asked, who do you think won the fight, or something like that? Who'd you score the fight for? Who'd you score the fight for? Okay. 59% of the people said Shevchenko. Okay, 41% of the people said Alexa Grasso. That is after 68 votes. So most people feel like Shevchenko, or most people scored it for Shevchenko. Okay, you also had Combo Breaker conduct a poll, if I'm not mistaken. Combo Breaker's polls gets a lot of votes. Okay, if you ever want to know the public sentiment, be sure to check out his polls. His polls got 110 votes. 110 votes, and 55% of the people said that Shevchenko should have been, well, Shevchenko won the fight. I selected draw just to be neutral and not influence when who won and who lost. But I agree that Valentina should have won rounds 1, 3, and 4. Okay, I can roll with that. I can co-sign with that. Rounds 1, 3, and 4. But in round 5, I don't believe that was a 10-8. However, that moment for Grasso in the 5th round was bigger than any moment Valentina had. It's not all about, see, and this is the problem that the Weasel has. They're overly technical that they're not realistic. They're not down to earth with how they're looking at it. With them, it's all computer numbers, heavy, light, heavy. No. Who had the biggest moments? Who took their opponent to a point where you thought they were about to get stopped? Who had these moments where they were inflicting damage, where you thought the fight was about to be ended? Grasso, again, had more moments like that. She had a moment like that in round 2, and it wasn't just the knockdown. The knockdown is one of the moments. Valentina had 0 knockdowns. A knockdown is a big moment. That's a huge display of dominance over your opponent, especially when your opponent has not knocked you down, even though they've been able to hit you. You've both been hitting each other, yet your punch knocked them down. That's real good for your image in the fight. That's just how it is. So Grasso had that big knockdown in round 2, huge moment, and then she goes over there and starts teeing off on Valentina in a way that Valentina had not teed off on Grasso at any point in the fight whatsoever. That moment in round 2, Grasso's aggression level was at 10. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, you knuckle-headed scoundrels. All of you MMA fans out there. This is the other side of the story, man. Those big moments matter. When you have a huge moment, your opponent is in big trouble, you think, oh, this looks like it's about to be it. Or if you're saying, oh, shot after shot after shot, unanswered shots. Well, one fighter just teeing off on the other, and there's no shots coming back. Those are massive moments in fights. Grasso had that moment in round 2, and she also had a knockdown in round 2. That's a huge round. Grasso, that's a huge round. And listen, I'm not too familiar about how 10-8 rounds work in MMA. But with boxing, 10-8 rounds is when the person who lost the round really has no moments at all in the round. For example, in this fight, round 5, Valentina started off the round schooling Grasso, and then Grasso came back and was teeing off. Yes, that was a big moment for Grasso, teeing off, having her back and all that. But that it couldn't be a 10-9 or 10-8 round. because Shevchenko was not completely dominated. 10-8 rounds has always been traditionally when that fighter has been dominated start to finish, where it was not a competitive round at all. There were no minutes where the fighter who lost the round had success. That's a true 10-8 round. So I don't believe there were any 10-8 rounds in this fight. However, I do believe there were big moments that matter, that could sway a judge's decision. So I believe Valentina won the first round. But just like I was talking about before the fight, how decisively do you think she won the first round? Yes, I gave live feedback to the fight. And after the first round, I said Shevchenko's round. I'm not saying that Grasso actually won. I'm just saying that this is what I was talking about. That when you are in a close fight against a champion, some of those rounds might go to the champion. What is Lupita doing with the belt? What is she doing? Lupita Godinez took a photo in front of the belt. Girl, you goofball, get out of here. You can't be up there taking pictures with belts doing the Molly McCann. All right, that's goofy. Okay, Valentina has made a statement. She has made a statement responding to the fight, and I'm going to read it. Valentina said, "I regret that instead of a deserved victory, the result of the battle was a draw. That makes me so angry and sad." Okay, from where he got such an account, it's not known. When half of the round you broke her with your hands, and half the round she was sitting behind you, broke her with your hands. Translation is always kind of messed up with this. She said, in half the round she was sitting behind your back. Yes, control was considered, but there was no fall. 10-8 in this round, unfortunately. Now I agree with, Shevchenko got a point here. That last round shouldn't have been no 10-8. That was crazy. Because in the beginning of the round, I was saying, hey, Grasso's getting schooled. But I did say live that this is still the type of round that Valentina don't want. You don't want no round where, Grasso's still in the fight. She's pressing forward. Yeah, she's getting hit more often than she's hitting you. But she's walking forward. And, that's risky when you're facing the champion. Especially on Mexican Independence Day. That's crazy. So she's mad about this. I think she'll get over it. I think Valentina will get over it, and eventually she's going to continue fighting. Okay? That's what I believe. But the thing here is, Valentina would have had to execute an extremely dominant, she would have had to carry out an extremely dominant, magnificent, unbelievable performance. She would have had to deliver the greatest performance, single performance of her career, in my opinion, in order to have taken that belt back. First of all, it would have had to have been a stoppage. She would have had to have won by stoppage in order to have won the fight at all. Now, if she won by decision, now, of course, yes, it's possible for her to have won by decision, but she would have had to pulverize Alexa Grasso so bad in order to win the decision and get that belt back. She would have had to made the viewers feel worried for Grasso. Like, oh, look, this is going on for long enough. I don't know how much more this Grasso can take. You would have had to heard the commentators talking like that in order to give Valentina the belt via decision. Each round. The first round, all you heard the commentators saying, well, wow, Valentina outclassing Grasso so far. And then, whoa, this is getting one-sided here. And then round 3, whoa, Grasso taking a lot of punishment. I don't know how much more of this she can take. Round 4, they need to think about stepping in. That's the type of decision victory where Valentina could have won a decision. There's nobody who thought Valentina would be able to dominate Grasso like that. Come on, man. Do any of you think Shevchenko is capable of dominating Grasso like that? Now, I believe Valentina has the tools. She has the experience. She has everything required. But her as a fighter, I don't think that type of fight would ever unfold for her. She needed a stoppage in order to get that belt back. So I think that's a more important question. One man's opinion, that's just my opinion. I think it's a more important question is, should Valentina be the champion right now? See, the Weasel and all these other channel hosts, they're getting off projecting themselves as intellectually superior. Like, hey, look at me. I did the math. I counted the strikes. Heavy, light, medium. And I discovered that Valentina actually won. Okay, but should she be the champion right now? Keeping close in mind that Grasso had the big moments. When Grasso was teeing off on Valentina in round 2, I would feel different if in round 3 or 4, Valentina started teeing off on her like that. Had as many unanswered shots landed on Grasso as Grasso landed on her in the previous round. And then I would say Valentina has gotten her back for that flurry in the first round, and it would have been even at that point. Valentina never got her back for that. At the end of the day, fighting is more so like real fighting. And at the end of the day, only people who had fights in their life better equipped to talk about who won. At the end of the day, I would rather be the fighter teeing off on you. Forget about your little jabs and your little tip, tip, tap, tap, tap. When I tee off on you and I leave lumps on your face, I'm going to feel far more confident than you when I go back to my corner. And Grasso lifted lumps on Shevchenko's face when she teed off on her in that second round. That was a huge moment. You don't have to give her a 10-8 for that. To feel like her big moments won her the fight, especially as the sitting champion. Another question, did Valentina take the belt? You heard the saying, you got to take the belt from the champion. We all know she didn't. Also ask yourself, who ended the fight stronger? That matters. And Grasso ended the fight just teeing off on her. Bad visual. Had her back teeing off on her. I knew that that was the most likely type of fight. A competitive fight was always the most likely type of fight to unfold. A competitive fight, and that's what it was. And I said, so the odds are that in a competitive fight, the reigning champion keeps the belt. That's always been how it is. And the same thing happened last night. Despite the fact Grasso was not named the victor or the winner, the result is still the same. The champion of the division is still Alexa Grasso. Ladies, man, please make note of that. Destruction is mandatory. You going up against a champion, and it's even more mandatory when you've lost to that champion, you got an immediate rematch, and you trying to get that belt back. When you get a immediate rematch, you got to do like Israel did. flatline them and take that belt. Don't rely on a judge to give it to you in a competitive fight. No. That ain't how fighting works. When it comes to the queen of the division, you gotta leave no doubts in nobody's mind. And you can thank Shevchenko for that. Shevchenko has raised the bar so high that she's made it more difficult for even herself to get the belt back. Her excellence, I think, is a factor in why she didn't get that belt back. Now, she don't have nothing to be ashamed of. And like I said, I like the way this all turned out because I don't think this demoralizes Valentina. If she truly believed that she won the fight and the general public truly believes that she won the fight, then I suspect that's enough motivation for her to keep fighting, to keep going on with her career. And for me, for a fan of Valentina, I'm happy about that. That's what I wanted. Whatever happened, I just wanted both Alexa Grasso and Valentina to not be demoralized after the fight and to still be hungry to continue fighting. I feel like this outcome ensured that more than any other outcome, unless, of course, Valentina got the belt back. But then Valentina might be motivated to retire if she got the belt back. You see? Now, I actually thought about this before the fight. Now, if she got that belt back, am I lying? We heard Joanna talking about that. Get the belt back, I'm going to retire. Valentina won that belt back. There would have been a better chance that she would have retired. Now, she retired, and then I lose out on excitement if Shevchenko retire. Now I got to deal with a flyweight division without Valentina Shevchenko. No, I'm not looking forward to that. Even if you don't think Shevchenko is all that, she is an important fighter in this division. So she's still motivated. Her stock has really not taken much damage. I don't think this has taken confidence from her, which is another thing. That's the main thing I don't want to happen. For the fighters themselves to feel demoralized, start doubting themselves, believing that they can't do it anymore, they don't get it. Just don't start with all that. And I don't think that is going to happen with Shevchenko with the way this fight. Now, she will be disappointed at herself that she wasn't able to just stop Alexa. But that is going to be more motivation for her to go out and start stopping fighters going forward. You see? I've thought this through. I'm not sitting up here trying to make controversial statements saying that I like that Valentina lost. No, I like the fact that she's most likely going to be more motivated to not only continue fighting and fight these newer fighters, but to try her best to stop them. This going to light more fire under her to get stoppages going forward than anything else. You see, Valentina, you see how important it is to truly have dominance, to have true dominance over your opponent is to stop them. It ain't to get no decision. It is not to get no decision, especially not after you ended the fight getting wailed away on. What is going on in here? You say Valentina won and she should be the champion? Okay. All right. Pragya said Valentina won and she should be the champion. Tiago says Valentina won. Tiago says Valentina won. Okay, but different question. Should she be the champion? Should she be the champion? Different question. No, and I'm not the owner of WMMA Rankings, but WMMA Rankings does a really good job of keeping up with what's going on in the WMMA world, and I use a lot of their content for my content. So as sort of my way of giving gratitude to them for allowing me to use their content, they never complain. I use their photos and stuff like that, my thumbnail, they never complain. You know, I'm sort of helping to promote them, you know, and what I'm getting out of it is content. I don't have to use the PowerPoint I don't have to write nothing out, which takes a lot of time. I can just go to WMMA rankings on Instagram. So that's WMMA rankings on Instagram. Be sure to check them out. They do a good job. All right. Vera said, in hindsight, do you think Weili had a better chance to beat Valentina? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I think that in that fight, we saw that Valentina's boxing is just better than, she's a better boxer than Grasso. She was outboxing Grasso just flat out, especially in that fifth round, that last round. That is when I think Valentina's boxing superiority started to shine over Alexa Grasso's in that fifth round. When she's assertive, being assertive and actually throwing the shots out there, Shevchenko is a better boxer. But Grasso can have much more aggression and still get the upper hand on her. That's just one of those weird, funny things, how it works out in combat sports. Said the way Valentina got knocked down was bad. Yeah, that was bad. And again, she never knocked Grasso down like that. That's a huge moment. Huge moments like that matter because it burned into people's memories. And it demoralizes the person who had to deal with that. You know, that's a good moment for you as a fighter. When you knock your opponent down with a punch, that gives you a lot of confidence. It takes confidence from them. The crowd get excited for you. Those moments matter. So the way I judge fights, it's not all based on how the judges judge fights. I don't depend on them. I don't listen. I don't follow nobody. Okay? That's not part of my culture. Part of my culture is to be independent and do thinking myself. To be the innovator. What you talking about? The pioneer. Fool. You know what I'm saying? Watch your mouth. The way Valentina, Vera, nothing part of, you say, I believe Alexa and Guillotine was better, a better moment. All right, let's deal with that. She said, I believe Alexa in the Guillotine was a better moment for Valentina Shevchenko. That was a big moment for Valentina Shevchenko. I myself thought the fight was over. I was saying it like that guillotine is in. But do you think that demoralized Alexa Grasso? Do you think Grasso lost confidence as a result from it? I don't think so. I don't think it made Grasso start to doubt herself. How did it work against Grasso? It would have only worked against her had Valentina got the submission. It didn't instill doubt, and it probably instilled confidence in Grasso. Like, hey, that was your best attempt. You can't sub me. Try it again. That's why I got to disagree with that. That moment for Valentina was not as big of a moment as Grasso's moments. And I'm not saying this just because I picked Grasso and it's an ego thing. I'm not egotistic. Y'all don't know how many people have picked that. I'm not no egotistic person. I'm being straight up. Good moment for Valentina. Almost got a submission. Not as big of a moment as Grasso's moments. After Grasso teed off on Valentina in that second round, she left damage on Valentina's face. Even based on the new criteria, that damage is more valuable. It's more of a factor than anything else. She left damage, visible damage on her face. That has residual effects. Unlike an attempted guillotine. After Grasso was wailing away on Valentina's face, now Valentina has to feel those lumps the rest of the fight. You get punched like that. Valentina, those punches, the bruises were throbbing even in the fifth round. She felt that the whole fight. And what that does, it has an effect on your confidence, your mind, and everything. It can. There is negative effects after a flurry like that. That's bigger of a moment. Okay? And plus, it just takes more and more out of your opponent. Makes him, you breaking them down when you're landing clean shots. Those are a lot of clean shots for Alexa Grasso. And the knockdown. Knockdowns should be in the scoring criteria. Just like a knockdown is in boxing. It should be huge when a fighter gets a knockdown. And she got a knockdown. even though it's not in the scoring of in MMA, it is in the fight fans' mind. And we just give or put more value on knockdowns like that than the official judges. It is what it is. She said the way Valentina, wait a minute. Where was this? Okay, a lot of it. Said the way Valentina got back up and came back should be noted too. Said in one championship, Grasso would have gotten the win with the way they score fights. Okay, that's another good point. I understand what you're saying, but one doesn't always need to finish or dominate to win. That's true. But in title fights, the way it is right now, you usually got to dominate the champion. Whether it's right or wrong for it to be that way, I'm not even discussing that. I'm not even going to say that. That's a whole different discussion, period. The way it is right now, you really got to decisively beat the champion, especially when it's an immediate rematch. Especially when it's an immediate rematch after that champion who's trying to get their belt back was stopped when they lost the belt. You see what I mean? When you get stopped and lose your belt, you're under more pressure to stop them to get the belt back. I explained this back when I took Alexa Grasso in this fight. That's more pressure on you now to stop her to get it back. So I'm in agreement with that. I'm like, hey, I believe Valentina did win 3 rounds. I believe Grasso did win 2 rounds. And I don't believe Grasso got any 10-8 rounds. However, some judges are so moved by those big moments, they're more likely to give one of the other close rounds to Grasso. That's just how it is. That's why I say this is a difficult fight for Valentina. This is why I was saying that. She said, of course, that's the ideal way, but elite fighters don't always get finished. Well, and that's the extra pressure that I was talking about. The elite fighters at the top, it's less likely that they're going to win by finish. And that's why Shevchenko, this was such a task for her. Said Grasso took the back at last moment and never even got the rear naked choke. My personal opinion, that is not what's called finishing the fight strong. Because she failed the rear naked choke, you don't believe she finished that fight strong because she didn't actually get the rear naked? Yeah, but she had her back and she was beating on her. You don't think that's a strong finish? You know what? You don't have to think that's a strong finish. I do, and I think most other people do. She said, one doesn't need to do Valentina that bad to make her keep going. She is a motivated woman. She already said she plans to fight for a long time. Okay, good. Good. But I think it's a weak argument to say that Grasso did not finish that fight strong. Do you really want to hang your hat on that? That sounds like a weak argument that somebody would not make who follows me. Are you really a follower of mine? Praga, you leave a lot of comments. You have, sometimes you got a lot to say. So a lot of people are familiar with your comments. You sure you want to say that? You don't think Grasso finished that fight strong? I wouldn't say that. You could say what you want now. Hey, I'm not trying to control what people say. I personally wouldn't say that. I would feel like that would hurt my credibility, my knowledge of the sport. But hey, knock yourself out. That you believe. If you don't believe she finished strong, hey, knock yourself out. I believe she did. If you win, you should be the champion. Valentina won. Okay. See, a lot of people think Valentina should be the champion, think she won. And listen, I'm not against that. I like that. I like that because it helps to keep Valentina's stock intact. Now, Valentina is still a valuable opponent and an sought-after opponent by fighters who want to crack at the title. Hey, give me the former champion. Hey, Valentina, honored to fight you. Best champion ever. I feel like you won the rematch and you should still be the champion. I mean, you watch. The next Valentina opponent is going to ride on that narrative. That's why I like this outcome. I'm not against Valentina. Yeah. This ain't no attack against nobody. I'm happy with the way this unfolded. And I'm not saying that I'm happy that Shevchenko ain't the champion, but in a way I am. Because I think if she would be the champion right now, if she would have got that belt back, she'd be more motivated to retire. And then now I would have a problem with that. She said she was off balance. It wasn't a flush knockdown. Part of it was a balance issue, but had Valentina was not so off balance. Had she not gotten hit, she wouldn't have fell like that. It was both a balance issue and a punch. She was a little off balance. Some of it was her being off balance. But had she not gotten hit, there ain't no way she would have fell like that. There was so much impact land on her face. She fell straight back and had to do a flip in order to get back to her feet. That's real momentum right there. You don't purposely toss yourself back like that. She got clobbered with a punch. Y'all be honest now. Look at Valentina's face at the end of that fight. Then y'all see that swelling on her lip? You see that swelling on Valentina's lip? See that? Right there? I suspect that came from that punch in the second round. Bop! Right? Sound like meat slapping. She got hit flush, man. Y'all playing silly now. She got hit flush. It was a flush shot. It didn't really crash. The full momentum on there, like I said, Grasso did not really hit her that bad. But she hit her bad enough to knock her back. Boy. Y'all is a mess. Y'all, WMMA fans, y'all is a complete mess. Y'all are just mean-spirited people, man. Y'all be wishing bad on these fighters. Y'all be wishing for their downfall. Y'all just terrible. Some of y'all terrible, not all of you. You see, I agree. The sad thing is that this fight showed Valentina was the better fighter. I think Valentina durability going. I've never seen Valentina take as many punches as she did in the last two fights. Exactly. And she was taking punches, and she's taking more punches I've ever seen her take. Now, is that because she's fighting better fighters? Is she aging, losing a step? We don't know. I think we'll find out. I think we're about to get those questions answered because I think she's about to keep fighting. She seems motivated still to keep fighting. I don't see her retiring here. Do you think Valentina showed questionable IQ? Yeah, that head and arm toss. Like, why would you go for something like that? She's gotten in trouble going for that so many times already. You know how squirmy Grasso is, slippery she is. Why would you go for something like that? And it's the fifth round. She's cursed. Going for a head and arm toss in the fifth round. Valentina Shevchenko. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, that was horrible. That was horrible. I've never questioned Valentina's IQ before. But in that moment, it's like, what in the world were you thinking? Head and arm toss, and she paid for it. Backfired immediately. You said Valentina also did not lose confidence by that knockdown. No, she didn't. She didn't, but it still looked bad. Even if she didn't lose confidence, it looked bad. Man, when you get hit by a punch, it lands and knocks you back, and you have to flip, that looks bad. And the fact is, that punch is what sat her down. Had she not gotten punched, she wouldn't have fell. She would not have been knocked off her feet had she not been punched. So, hey, that is what it is. So Valentina won 3 of the rounds. You say sorry? What you sorry for? Ain't no reason to be sorry. Y'all stop apologizing for sharing your scorecards. What do y'all do that for? What did you apologizing for? Ain't nothing to be sorry for. I thought this fighter won these rounds. You say whoever does not see that simply doesn't understand what they're watching. Simple as that. Yeah, she won 3 rounds. I believe she won 3 rounds as well. But this is why I picked Grasso to win the fight. Because I knew it would most likely be a close fight, where a lot of people would think Shevchenko won, just like we have now. But Grasso still ended up taking that belt back home with her. And that's exactly what happened. Nothing changes that. Y'all could come in here, people could come in here and think Valentina won all 5 rounds. It doesn't matter. I predicted this, and it's exactly what I predicted. I predicted specifically that Grasso would most likely win a split decision. And that would have been my prediction spot on. She would have won a close fight, a split decision, where a bunch of people thought Valentina won. And with it being a draw, that's basically the exact same outcome. The judges were split, and Grasso took the belt home. Valentina did not. The Bruce Buffer still had to say, and still. And let me tell you, the champion don't care what they had to do to hear and still. The challenger don't care what led up to and still. They don't want to hear and still. They want to hear and new. That's all that mattered. That's what I predicted. And I said it would happen because Grasso's too competitive. She's too difficult to dominate. And to get a decision, I knew Valentina would have had to dominate her like dramatically. And that was like impossible. I knew that was very unlikely. Okay, so don't say sorry. Oh, Valentina won. Sorry. I'm not sitting up here celebrating that I got a prediction right. Stop assuming I'm childish like that. I'm just saying, when you are in a situation that Shevchenko was in, you are expected to have a massive victory to get that belt back. You heard Valentina talking about how much she needed a stoppage to get that belt back. You heard her talking about that before the fight. She was saying the exact same thing that I was saying. And this is why she said, I need a stoppage. This is why she didn't want a decision. She didn't want this. So, yeah. The writing was on the wall, man. Yeah, I scored it for Valentina. Live, I said that I thought Grasso won. I don't think that no more. I rewatched the fight. When I watched it live, that video's still up. I said it live. I'm like, look, I have to rewatch that fight. I knew after the fight ended, I had to rewatch it. It's a close fight. And I'm saying now for the record, Valentina won 3 rounds. Grasso won 2. Flat out. There were no 10-8 rounds. I'm saying that. That's what I believe. Shevchenko won 3 rounds. Grasso won 2. There were no 10-8 rounds. And I'm saying that that's exactly what I predicted. That you can have a fight where Shevchenko won 3 rounds, Grasso won 2, and you still don't take that belt home with you. Boom. That's it. She had to stop Grasso. And if she didn't stop her, she would have had to completely and utterly dominate her. And how likely was that? Was Grasso's face, I know she had that cut over. Now, Valentina did cut her, which was very significant. And I think it was like one shot. One elbow, I think, opened Grasso, that cut next to Grasso's eye. That was a big moment for Valentina. But was it a bigger moment than Grasso's moments? Probably not. Probably not. A lot of times you take an elbow like that, you get hit, you don't feel it. It don't demoralize you. It don't take your confidence. It's not like they had you pinned up in a corner, teeing off on you, and your defense wasn't working for you, and nothing like that. It don't demoralize you like that. It does not start to make you question your arsenal or your ability to defend yourself, because it's one shot. Everybody will get hit with a shot here and there. No, I don't think it was as big of a moment for Valentina than the moments Grasso had. Knocked down like that, that's a big moment for a fighter. It's a big moment for a fight, period. For the visuals, for the judges, for the crowd. The crowd stands up. Something like that happened. Everybody like, whoa, you don't want to get knocked back where you fall backwards like that. Nobody's going into a fight hoping that happens to them, whether you off balance or not. That's a bad moment for you and a good moment for your opponent. Yeah. Some more. You say it was a big moment. You say it was a big moment, but I see the fight as a whole at the end, just my way. Hey, if you did that, hey, I don't have no problem if y'all think Valentina won. If you think she rightfully had the belt, okay, fine. Look, I'm happy about that. You knock yourself out. That all helps to reinsure that Shevchenko will continue fighting. Because let's be real, if she retires, it will take some excitement away from the division. For a long time, people have been wondering how she would fare against some of these other fighters. So she's going to continue fighting. So a lot of those fights we've been talking about most likely still going to happen. But, this is not the type of fight she wanted. Because for the result you see right there, she don't have the belt. Those close fights, those close victories, you don't want those even when you holding the belt and defending it. So you definitely don't want a fight like that when you're trying to take the belt back after somebody stopped you and took it from you. Man, that's the worst position to be in. That is the most challenging position to be in. You say she did win the 5th, but it wasn't 10-8. You say you feel like it was Devin wasn't a 10-8, right? How did Andrade versus Rose 2 round 3 not get 10-8? Right. Grasso's face was worse. Somebody said Grasso's face was worse than Valentina's. I have to look at that again. I don't think Grasso hits hard enough to send Valentina back like that. He said the head and arm toss cost her to lose the fight against Nunes. Yeah. And it arguably cost her to lose the fight in this fight. That head and arm toss. Because that's when Grasso, that was in the 5th round. And after she did that and failed, Grasso took her back and put her hooks in, started wailing away. Once again, that head and arm toss caused Valentina to not walk home with the title. Some of these moves that she does, they're cursed. And she needs to stop doing them. No more head and arm tosses, but she's at the point now where she does it without even thinking about it. She's wired to. But she need to stop doing that and stop doing them spin kicks. She getting older. She need to start fighting more like an old woman. You got to be careful. Stop doing the risky acrobatic stuff. Come on now, Valentina. We got to step it up. She's going to continue fighting. I'm happy about that. But I don't want to keep seeing fighters waiting for her to do a spin kick, jumping on her back. She just got to stop doing this stuff. Got to stop with all the crazy stuff. You say because Grasso is improving with time. She's in her prime. Maybe she has gained muscle over time, growing into this division now. Now she has power, I believe. Valentina always wanted to headline a pay-per-view. It's sad we never got the champ fight with Wei Lee. They could have headlined a pay-per-view with a champ fight. Yeah, that's true. Grasso didn't even knock down Joanne Calderwood or Araujo. who got knocked down by Andrea Lee and Amanda Hebos. That's a good point. I'm not even a Valentina fan. I don't want to see Valentina lose a bunch now. Yeah, she just lost. Yeah, that's crazy. Shevchenko just lost 2 in a row. And one she lost by stoppage. Well, she didn't lose. She lost, and then she just now got a draw. But she was going off. She vented at the post-fight presser for a reason. Because she is disappointed at the results. And I believe, and rightfully so, she is interpreting the results as a loss. As I suspected she would. She's interpreting this as a loss, as she should. Let me see if I can find, I want to hear what she, wait a minute. No disrespect to Alexa Grasso. I know she's still the champion and, you know, she's still the general or the captain of the division. No disrespect, but Valentina's a long-time champion, man. I would like to hear what she has to say. I want to see, you know, where her head is. Like I told y'all before, the only thing I care about is that they all come out of the fight still wanting to fight. You know, don't fall into depression. That's the only thing that would upset me. Have fun. Smile.
Well, I'm sure you're...
Have fun. I'll get her next time. Same thing with Rose. What Rose need to do is just have fun. Like, hey, I'm just fighting because I just want to see how I match up against some of these girls. These girls are real tough. Natalia Silva, she looks tough. I just want to see how I match up against it. I believe that's how these fighters should look at their career, man. No need for depression.
Processing everything a little bit, but I guess what is the emotions right now, right? I mean, it's not a loss, but you also didn't get your title back tonight. So what are your feelings right now?
It's kind of like crossing feelings. From one side, I proud of myself because I fought the battle till from the first second to the very end of the fight. I fought with all my heart, with all my soul. And from the other side, it's like frustration because I think 3 rounds I won. 2 rounds it maybe was her, but I feel that 10-8 in the 5th round, it's completely unfair. It was some illegal shots like knees in the first round. Unfortunately, it was like nothing to do with that, but I feel that it's not...
Wow. First of all, people, can we have a moment to appreciate the fact this is the first time we've seen Shevchenko looking like this. Somebody said Grasso's face was worse. Okay, fine. But we're dealing with Shevchenko here. She's been the face of excellence for a very long time. You know how much time I spent trying to get it through to people's heads, how efficient of a defensive fighter she is, and pointing out how clean her face, blemish-free her face be after fights. Told you, go look at that rematch against Nunes and tell me what other girl go 5 rounds against Nunes and come out with not even a blemish on her face. That was Shevchenko after a rematch against Nunes. You know, no other fighter ever done nothing like that. Sick defensive fighter. But as nobody defeats Father Time. As Father Time starts to set in, now we're seeing Shevchenko look like this after fights. Okay? Now, she may not be losing the step. She may not be coming washed up. She may not be none of that. It may just be she's getting older. So a lot of different things are starting to slow down. And now she's in competitive fights now. There is no super dominant. That era is over. Shout out to somebody who left a comment saying that era where there's one super dominant, unquestionably dominant champion. Yes, Valentina had that. She had that for a while going here in the flyweight division. Good. That's a beautiful memory and a history to have. And all other girls wish they had or able to say that as well. Understand, Valentina's stock is not in trouble, in my opinion. I don't believe her stock is in bad shape at all. Okay? Even Joanna, accomplished fighters. Joanna wished she could say that she made 7 title defenses rather than just 5.
In the 5th round, it's completely unfair. It was some illegal shots like knees in the 1st round. Unfortunately, it was like nothing to do with that, but I feel that it's against my like personal rules that stop and complain, right? It's kind of like I every time was feeling hard position situation, I tried to find the way to succeed, and that's why I didn't stop. I broke my thumb in the 1st round, and it's like fractured now. I felt it's kind of like affecting my striking, but in the same time, I felt if I would stop, it's gonna be very frustrating for the whole fans who was this night because they was waiting this fight. They wanna see the fight, and if I stop in the 1st round and say I cannot continue, I felt like it's gonna be again.
Oh man, that's terrible. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, but that's combat sports. That's combat sports. That's 25 minutes long. I'm not going to play this whole thing. Unfortunately, that's combat sports because I would prefer to see all fighters 100% in their fights. But, fact is that sometimes does not happen. A lot of times it does not happen. So it is what it is because you don't really get a true read on the better fighter, on who's the better fighter. When one fighter is impaired and the other fighter is in much better shape. So, yeah. But listen, man. Valentina, she sort of has to readjust her mentality. And she the only one that has to do that. Especially the way that she has to readjust it. For a long time, she had to accept that she was a dominant fighter, that fighters were losing to her. Most of them was getting stopped. If they wasn't getting stopped, it was a unanimous decision. She walked out without a scratch on her, got one of the palest faces in the business, and still you can't find a scratch. That went down for a while, but now she's going to be in competitive fights. She has to accept that. She has to accept that she's about to be in competitive fights. Might have more fights like this one. And that's just tough. It's tough for anybody to have to do. If I was going through that, that would be tough for me to do. If I wanted to continue fighting, I would have, if I want to continue fighting, I'm going to have to readjust my mentality and accept that I'm no longer the dominant champion, that I'm not head and shoulders above the competition anymore. Girls are either getting better, they're young, or whatever the reason, but it's time to really go to war now. So, man, this is crazy. If Shevchenko continues to fight, we're really about to see, her mentality. Her mentality and what she's made of. What if she loses her next fight? That'll be a loss, draw, loss. Will she continue to fight? She might get a knockout. If she gets a stoppage victory in her very next fight, it's going to light the fire right back under her. So there's no telling what we're about to see. There's no telling what we're about to see. But if she continues to fight like she says she's going to, then there's a good chance she might get her hands back on that title. But she's going to have to crank up. She's going to make some changes. Because clearly, she can't be fighting Alexa Grasso like this. She got to find a way to be more dominant over Alexa Grasso. She can't be coming out of fights with her face looking like this, taking no belt, or even defending it. Wouldn't trust that either. Okay? And, somebody might destroy Alexa Grasso. So, hey, I'll put it like this. The end of Valentina's career is going to be a lot different. A whole lot different than the beginning. But make no mistake, 7 title defenses. She is in the history books. I think it's going to be a long time before anybody breaks that record, that title defense record. Okay, she's made her mark. So at this point, she may as well look at it as having fun. You proved yourself. That's really what girls want. That's really what fighters want. Hey, I want to leave my mark. I want to make history that nobody will ever forget. She's already done that. So she should be able to continue to fight without as much pressure on her. Just have fun now. Now experiment. Now go out there and try to just tee off and go crazy. Go berserk on somebody. See if you can just destroy. Just experiment with yourself now. You're like, you know what? My next fight, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to tee off on my opponent. I'm not going to stop until either I knock them out or they knock me out. Just have fun going forward. Valentina? No, don't do that. I'm not serious suggesting her do that. But just don't take it too serious. That's crazy. That's crazy. So I'm sure she makes a lot of points. I'm going to find out about a lot of important things that she said and that Alexa Grasso said. I'll find it all out over time. But I'm not going to sit here and go through this 25-minute thing. I've already been here on here for an hour. So, yeah. You say you think Valentina understands that because she has reiterated that the flyweight division is always the future of WMMA. Oh, yeah, buddy. Yeah, she's living that now. She's living out her own words. I think she would decline this fast. I truly believe Valentina would beat Grasso easily in her prime. Interesting. You say, don't think a trilogy should be done immediately. Valentina should take some time off, heal, fight a new face, have fun. I think she should take some time off too. Not too long though, but take some time off. Reformat her approach to fights. Do some things different. Because there has to be a lot of pressure or some amount of pressure off of her not having the belt anymore. But the main thing is her stock is not hurt that bad, and her confidence probably won't be hurt that bad. Even though she didn't get the belt, her confidence most likely won't be hurt that bad because she feel like she won. Most people are going to be saying that she won. You're going to have all these videos out here saying Valentina won, Valentina won, Valentina won. So that's going to motivate her to keep fighting. We'll see how she does in her very next fight. So in her very next fight, she is going to want to really make a statement again, just like, in this fight. So hopefully she'll be even more motivated to make a statement. That will ensure I get the most for my buck. You see, I get the most out of these fighters. And that's all that matters. Let me get off here. I did not plan on being on here for an hour. What is this? I will see y'all on the next live stream.